What is the most important super secret information about this that
Oh,
only
yeah,
the
yeah.
people that are subscribed to the channel and not receiving ads can know?
So, are people gonna
Go.
get a Riot gun buddy for showing up? Can you promise this ahead of time? Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another episode of Don't Talk If You Don't Know, the unofficial official podcast dedicated to all things competitive, high-level teamfight tactics, at least in North America. But once again, we are back with Riot Sherman to go global because we got some news to talk about when it comes to TFT Esports. My name is Frodan. I'm your host, as always, joined by Bryce. And Bryce, we just did a podcast 12 hours ago. How are you doing on this fine Friday morning?
I hung up with you. I went downstairs. I slept. Great. And then I woke up and I came back to hang out with you. It's lit.
I know. So we got like a full 12 hours of rest, not even really. And we're back. And this time we don't have Goobums and Iniko from last night's episode. Today we got Milk joining us once more. Milk, how's life? How's TFT? How's Set 9?
Oh, people, hey, it's not been going too hot. My Smurf is somehow higher than my main now. I woke up, I went first, but I'm probably going dead last in the tournament.
All right. Well, also we got Riot Sherman joining us again. Sherman, thanks so much for stopping by. I know you're super duper busy. Also, this time we got an upgrade in the setup. So, glad to have you back on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. I brought a brand new mic for this because
Nice.
last time the audio was not good. But no, really excited to be here. I do love that the formula just seems to be Bryce Frodan, a pro and a rioter. In the back-to-back doubleheader. So excited to be the Iniko of this episode.
That's right. Did you catch any of last night's show?
I did miss last night's, but I'm gonna go back and check it out.
Yeah, that's right. You have to PR check this
Google's
Iniko guy.
Google was the mean guy, and then the Nico was like the PR guy.
Does that mean you get to be the mean guy?
Are
Bill?
you the mean guy,
Oh,
Bill?
yeah. No.
Am I the mean guy?
No. Bryce is actually the mean toxic guy here on the show usually, and then the guests have to argue against him. So we'll see. No flaming really is going on today. Not really a lot of hot takes. Instead, we're going to be discussing a lot of the esports announcement. We're especially focusing on the December LAN. And so let's first start off again just by kind of talking about the LAN in case anybody hasn't heard of it, right? There's people who started playing TFT even just a couple weeks ago. So what Bryce specifically should we start off with when it comes to the LAN? Let's just talk about like how the announcement is, what it actually, what eventually we visually kicked off with in the previous episode, and then what we're most excited about.
512 people, right, Sherm? You get that number right? 512 people, massive TFT LAN in Las Vegas at the MGM. It's Milk dubbed it TFT Con on our last podcast, and I feel like that's kind of stuck in the community. So everybody just kind of calls it and thinks about it as TFT Con. It's going to be an unbelievable opportunity for the entire world community. I mean, obviously it's in North America. A lot of people from NA are going to be there, but I think people are going to be flying out from all over the world to just hang out, celebrate TFT. It's also a buy-in event for the first time, so we're going to see big prize pool. We're going to have fun format, and we've got Sherm here to tell us all about the details that we didn't have until this moment.
Yeah, that's right. So to try to just get things started here, I'm going to transition and show off maybe the first thing that we can discuss, which is, are we allowed to talk about the name of the event, Sherman?
Absolutely.
There's a name?
There's a name.
That's right.
TFT Con.
And the name has been kind of kept under wraps. And so let's go ahead and just reveal it. It's going to be called the Teamfight Tactics Vegas Open. Now, the whole point of it is that we're trying.
That's kind of long.
What? Okay, no, hold on. There's like a whole reason behind it. So Sherman,
Okay.
why were we keeping like a name like this under wraps, and now Milk's like rolling his eyes, saying like, oh, it's kind of late. Like, what's the whole big deal about it?
There wasn't necessarily a reason for keeping the name under wraps as much as like we wanted to still finish a lot of the work that was going to go into the naming and the identity and everything. We really wanted to hit the Set 9 moment and kind of announce the event alongside the launch of Set 9 because we knew that Set 9 was just going to do really, really well and was going to be such an exciting set. We weren't quite ready to reveal the name yet. So it wasn't quite us like wanting to keep it a big secret. It's just like we needed to finish some work on it. but we're excited to reveal it all now.
Twitch chat detectives have already pointed out that by calling it the Vegas Open, it feels very open to the idea of calling the similar event in other locations the blank Open. Can you confirm now officially this is the first of many, Sherm?
The Maryland Open, because how else are we going to convince Soju to leave his house?
It's definitely is this, the only thing we're planning for right now is still Vegas. But yeah, when we built
does that confirm nothing for set 11 because it usually takes a long time? So is that confirmed? Nothing for set 11?
No.
You're not planning for anything else?
No confirmations of anything beyond set 10 right now.
They're already in negotiations with your mom for the Milk's Mom's Basement Open. Relax.
That's right. She's providing catering, by the way.
Just because they haven't announced doesn't mean they're not considering, analyzing, seeing the whole board.
But I will say the name definitely was, hey, we don't want to build something that just works this year. Should we be really happy with this? So we wanted to build something that could be extensible into the future.
Great. All right. So let's go with the actual first interesting details to be revealed besides the name, because I think that's just a little bit of a little warm up, right? A little appetizer. So the first thing that we have are passes information and what the dates actually will be for when those goes on sale. So according to this graphic, passes will be on sale starting at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern, beginning on September 5th, 6th, and 7th. And the important detail is that it is open for sale based on the rank that you're at. So on September 5th, the Challenger pre-sale begins. On September 6th, the Grandmaster and Master pre-sale. And then September 7th is the general pass for people below Masters, as well as the general spectating passes as well. So Sherman, why don't you talk a little bit about the breakdown of like how this actually works, and also how would they end up buying a pass?
Yeah. So we really wanted to do something that rewarded players for their skill and kind of gave priority to some of the most dedicated members of the community. And so from the get-go, we really were like, how can we go build a way for Challenger players to get priority access? And then, once we'd figured out how to do it for Challenger, we also extended that down to a Grandmaster Master tier. And then finally, we'll see how far. We have no idea if this is gonna like get all the way down to the general sale. But then we also wanted to have spectator passes go when everything was on sale, so that you could like really plan to go, and if you have a friend competing and you want to go support them, but not miss your opportunity. So we're really excited. This feels like something pretty unique. I've mentioned before, Evo is like a big inspiration for this. With how many players there are in TFT and how limited slots there are, we did want to make sure that we were giving some priority to high level players. And then as far as purchasing the passes, we'll launch a website here in a few weeks that really is going to be the home of everything for the event. So it'll be where you purchase your competitor pass, and you'll log in with your Riot account, and it'll have all of your information already preloaded. And then it'll also be, when you get to the event, it'll also be the place where you find, where are you sitting, what time's your next round, what are your results. So we're working on really making this a full suite of tools for you as a player.
There's a rank reset, the mid set. So how are you calculating Challenger or Grandmaster Master across the two sets? And there's no fine print available, but a very common question, I've been getting all over social media is there a paternity leave exception if someone is Challenger, wins the Shurima Cup in set 9, but then is unable to play 9.5? How does that work?
Now, for the pass sales, we're going to use a ladder snapshot on August 30th for Grandmaster, Master, Challenger. So you have, today is the day if you want these pre-sale windows like to start grinding, and then come 5th, 6th, and 7th, you'll know where you're already at. You won't need to like it won't be up until the last minute. And And then as far as like, I guess you're probably looking at like seeding for the event, Bryce. Is that the question?
Oh
for, like,
no, so
9?
so
Oh,
I
okay.
was so it sounds like you're doing a single snapshot at the end of set 9. So
Yes.
9.5 rank is actually not going to factor into this. Is that correct?
Not for player
For
registration.
player registration. Okay,
Yeah.
great, makes sense. And then is seeding different? It sounds like seeding might actually be different then.
Seeding, I don't have the details in front of me, but we've definitely been having a long conversation of like how do we if we use your set 9 rank to give you access to purchase a ticket, how then are we using set 9.5 data in addition to help seed the tournament?
Cool.
Got
And it's global snapshot, right? So every region.
Yes, every
challenger-
region's challengers, every region's grandmaster masters,
Right.
etc.
This is not North America only.
No, not at all.
All right.
Think about 9.5 is everyone the case is 0 OP Masters
I was going to say that.
for the seeding. So it's
when
going to
does-
be.
When does
not good for
9.5
seeding.
come out, Sherm? Do you know off the top of your head?
I do know. I don't know if we've talked about 9.5 release date, so I don't want to
People
put.
know. People know because there's patch cadence, Sherman. So it's
Sure,
early mid September. So this will be a couple weeks before it.
Okay, so if it's as long as it's a couple weeks before it, because Milk's right, you basically don't like once mid set happens.
Yeah.
all the top players have basically indicated that point.
Oh
So you
no,
wanna
no,
make
no,
sure-
no, 9.5 snapshot. You said 9.5. There's going to be a 9.5 snapshot for seeding.
Set
Seeding,
9.
yeah.
Set 9.
Oh, there's
No,
a
no,
9.5.
there's two
as well.
separate snapshots.
There's two we're looking at. I don't have confirmed details,
I
Bill,
misunderstood
but
the
I
question.
do know we are thinking a lot about like when to take the 9.5 snapshot.
Like early, because if you do it after regionals, everyone's going to be 0 OP Masters.
Yeah.
Question for other regions. Other regions don't have the same type of challenger and grandmasters like structure because there's fewer spots, or even like they don't have the population size. So like let's say in some really unpopulated servers, there's only like, a handful of challengers and everyone else is grandmasters. Some people are suggesting like, what if I just went to a different server and played so there's more challenger spots where I could take that? Is that allowed? Like what's the rules behind it? Does it just have to be challenger anywhere?
I would say yes. You just have to be the way we're doing it. You just have to be challenger anywhere. If you can go to, I think if you can go to a higher populated server and hit challenger, in the next 19 days, I'd guess that's pretty impressive. But I think Grandmaster Master does not necessarily have a cap around the world, but then Challenger is much more flexible based on the number of players. So it can be a little it's not congruent across the world.
Interesting. I wonder how that's going to affect people who are nearby, right? Like EUNE versus EU West. We'll see a little bit of that. The second thing I want to ask is, what if in some kind of extreme scenario happens where all the passes sell out from just like September 5th and there's like almost nothing left for September 6th? Or is Riot willing to adjust for those numbers, like scale up the player registration?
Is that even possible?
Is it possible? Yeah, it's possible.
Well,
It's not impossible, but
it's basically impossible. It's basically impossible.
I think for the way we're running the format this year, we're pretty hard locked at 512 players. But it's definitely, kind of going into this, there's a lot of debate of like, is this going to sell out on the 5th? Is this going to sell out on the 7th? Is this going to take a few days after the 7th? Are we going to spend the next month on this? I think we're eager and excited to see which one it is, but it has been hard to plan, knowing exactly.
It's going to sell on the 6th. It's going to sell on the 6th.
I agree with Milk. I think it sells on the 6th.
Yeah, there's like way too many like around 25-year-old single males that play TFT at our GM Masters. Like, there's too many of them.
And people are not going to want to miss this. This is going to be like the first in kind. It's kind of like how like the number of people who went to the summit and all said like it was like among the best weeks of their lives. I think it's going to be really similar energy for this one, but it's bigger, so there's more access to it. Like Summit was very gated on space. You know, it was the competitors plus you could have a +1, and that was kind of it. So I think this is going to be. Yeah, I agree. Although that being said,
I would love that.
That's competitor passes. Let's talk a little bit about the spectator, Sherm. How big is this event going to be overall? How many spectator passes are going to be for the people who miss out on the opportunity to register
live
play
audience?
Live audience. The spectator offering isn't massive. It's about 1,000 people, so it's just a little more than double what we're offering for the competitors. So that's partially because it's a smaller space. Like, we're being a little modest this year. Like, we want to see how it goes. Spectator interest is also not, like when we talk to players are most excited about competing.
Yeah.
They're excited to be there and
will
see
not
it.
sell out. That will not sell out.
It would not shock me if it sold out for what it's worth.
I think
Thousands
so.
not that big of a number.
I think you go back to the Summit example and how many people flew in. Did you talk to that flew in, drove to West Covina to hang out?
Yes.
I think the idea of like a global event selling 1,000 tickets.
I guess
go to
because
Las Vegas.
like the side events are like, what even are the side events there?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk about that actually? What are the side events? Like, what does the spectator do while there?
Yeah. So there is a little bit of, the TFT Con name has been pretty apt for this. We're looking at like, meet and greets, developer panels, all sorts of side programming, like for players to engage with while they're on site there. As far as site events, over the course of the tournament, we're not going to need all the PCs that we're running. If you get eliminated from the first round in that event, you'll have the chance to sign up for a consolation bracket. And that will play a smaller version of the main event format. So there's still a winner of that, and you can play that out. I think that goes all the way up until the final day as well. And then as PCs from the main event and the consolation bracket start to free up, we are hosting sort of like side events at the stations, and these aren't like entire tournaments. These are more focused around, hey, let's get 8 players at this PC. Maybe we're playing we're playing like a game mode. We're talking a lot about some of the really fun. There's a handful of like fun modes that the team plays. One is called Mastermind, where it's 1v1 and you each control 4 boards, and the goal is to have the highest or the lowest average placement across your 4 boards.
I've never heard of that. So
Yes.
you play 1v1 TFT. You can actually 1v1 TFT. Milk can go up against
running-
me and control 4 boards, and it's an
You're
APM
running back
diff.
and forth. It's APM diff. It's also am I cannibalizing the role the units that one of my other boards is needing? Is this the board that I'm like, screw it, this one's the 8th, but everything else is a 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
You also have to like
Holy.
play different cadence. That's important, right? You
Totally.
you definitely have to play like one cost reroll, one
yeah.
thing that rerolls in the mid game, like one thing that tries to get like, you know what I mean? You have to do it like that.
Okay, but Sherman, you somehow have to break the budget and break the piggy bank in order to get Faker and Def to play 1v1 TFT at Vegas as a show match in Mastermind mode. Come on. Isn't that feels like it'd be kind of hilarious, wouldn't it?
I feel like they would not do anything for like too long.
I agree.
But I do think
a show match. I do think a show match for this would be so fun to do, like Soju versus, if there's like, I'm sure there's gonna be big players from other regions that come out. So you do Soju versus like, one of the big CN players or something like that. That would be so fun to watch.
That'd be very fun to watch.
That's definitely, we've been thinking a lot about like, okay, what's the ultimate version of this match of this mode. So yeah, it's stuff like that we're looking at. It's really, and then having like consolation prizes, things, we don't want you, if you're top 4 or you win that table, just feeling like it's a fun thing to do. At the same time, there is going to be a featured stage, so there's going to be main stage seating for that. You'll be able to watch the biggest game of the tournament going on there. And then a variety of other activities, and I don't want to get into too many details. There's like some of that is still in flux, and but the exciting thing is we are going to have a lot of. The goal is to make this like a packed weekend of things to do as a player. If you're a diehard fan of TFT, this is the event. That's
okay.
That's right.
All right. I am sold on wanting to attend, Sherm. Talk to me about the cost to attend.
All right. Competitor or a spectator?
Let's start with competitors and let's do spectators.
All right. So for general players, it is as a competitor, it's $3.99. In a similar vein to what we said for the rewarding challenger, grandmaster, master players, we also are offering discounts based on your rank. So if you're a Grandmaster Master
What?
player, you're getting $100 discount, and your pass will be $299. And then if you're a Challenger player, your pass is $200 off, and it'll be $199. So
this is smart, because the people who don't have the time to no life TFT actually probably make money, but the people that no life TFT have no money because they're Challenger players. This actually is correctly adjusting for the market.
The last one is for spectator passes, it's 150. Now, mind you, that's for all of these get you in for all 3 days. So like the spectator pass averages out as an example to like $50 a day.
Okay. That's
okay.
Awesome.
Is this being contributed to the prize pool? I feel like I can bring up the prize pool that's been announced now, so it can be like a big reveal moment. The pricing for the Vegas Open is $300,000. And if you might notice, it's pretty top heavy in the sense that the winner of it gets 100 of it, and then second gets 25. So a pretty sharp jump from second to first place, making it a big crowning achievement, big moment. So first talk about the prize pool, and the second would be, does buying anything like contribute towards it, or is this the max cap?
No, this is the cap. We really wanted to do something that like we wanted to have a pretty sizable prize pool. We also knew we didn't want to do something that was higher than the set championships. That's still the best place, or the where you can see the most reward as a player. We also wanted it to feel like really valuable and exciting. If you make it to day 2 of the event, that's when you're already in the top 128. So like as much as you keep playing on, you'll start earning a larger piece of the prize pool.
Okay, so if you get to day 2, your pass is paid for, essentially. Is that the logic?
Effectively.
Yeah, that's right. Plus a little extra change, for the tax, or maybe to put it on Black 9 or something. But so cool. Milk, what's your reaction when you look at this prize pool?
Oh, I mean, I think it's pretty cool because like Riot's basically adding probably like 100K to the prize pool, so it's kind of nice because I don't think the whatchamacallit will sell out. The spectator pass will sell out, but I think everything else will sell out. So mostly all Challenger GM. So at the end of the day, Riot is adding like they set up the event and everything and adding a little to the prize pool, which is kind of nice. Yeah.
The prize pool actually ends up calculating out to be more than the total of the spectator pass and the competitor pass. So we wanted to do something that, like, I know the price can have a bit of sticker shock to it. We wanted to really like leave no thought that Riot's trying to like pocket this. And so we wanted to have a prize pool that gave back even more than we were taking in.
That's awesome.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you for your generous donation to the TFT scene. Is there going to be any kind of commemoration around, like, not just like who wins though? Like a lot of times if you want to compare it like, oh, we're getting our own World Series of TFT equivalent, right? When you've got to kind of make the comparisons to poker. Is it just like a trophy for first? Is there like important breakpoint that Riot wants to kind of say like, hey, if you're like top 16, you get like an auto guaranteed spot for like a future thing? Like how's that system like being developed right now?
Yeah, so we do have a trophy. Won't reveal what that's going to be, but excited for how that piece has been coming along. We won't have connections to this in necessarily other parts of like the competitive ecosystem, especially given that it's open, but there's still a limited number of slots. So we didn't want to make this the basis for whether or not you did or didn't get to participate in something in the future. Mm-hmm. But I will say the last really cool thing that comes with this is you will earn an in-game emote based on your placement in the tournament. So every round that you play in will earn you the next level of that emote, which leads to one player in the world will have the first place emote.
Whoa. And you just get to flex that. Oh my god, the amount of defense in this person's lobby is gonna be super high.
I'm never gonna stop emoting after I win this event. I won't even play TFT anymore. I'm just gonna go to Milk's board and just emote on him the whole time.
That's right. And he only can hit you back with the lower emote, right?
Yeah, he can have my LP
Wait.
because he's gonna know that this means that I won 100K and I have a emote that he can never get.
Is there a last place emote, Sherman?
So
Wow,
first place is
wait.
the only one that's getting a just a straight up like you placed first. Everything else is a like top. Yeah, I guess the first one is a participant, and after that it's top 256, etc.
Can we get one for eighth? Whoever got top eight,
Dude.
like so you can have an eighth
First
emote.
eliminated.
But then like if you're about to lose, I would just throw for the place emote.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, anybody who makes top eight. So top
Oh
eight.
wait.
Oh, there's emojis as you go up.
Oh.
It's just there's the only one that's one of one is the person who wins. So each successive each successive round you make it to, you get an emote that signifies you made it to that round. It's just there's only one winner.
I like that. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about format now, so we can discuss like how each day is going to progress. So let's break it down. So we start off with 512. There's going to be 64 tables, and the idea is that they're going to be sitting kind of next to each other, and then you're going to play 3 games. And the top 4 advance. Does that mean the top 4 from each lobby advance room? So basically, your goal is to just hit top 4 and move on.
Yeah, so it is top 4 in your lobby. You'll play the same 3 games at the same station. And the goal is, we didn't want it to be, we wanted you to have agency over your ability to advance. So how can you play the lobby, not necessarily the macro event?
I actually really like the format. I think it's a really cool innovation.
I don't like the format.
Okay, Milk, you go first, and then I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Okay. I think 3 is just a little bit too little. I think it's like okay to like run the day 1 like longer and have like 2 like 6-hour like 6 games with like 2 different groups, and you don't have to do 3. I feel like, because I do feel like if you're flying to Vegas, you're like traveling a lot, to just play like 3 games and you just like go that last. I mean, maybe not like 6, maybe like 5 because of the LAN is even better. But I do think 3 games is a little bit too little, especially for how hard it cuts. The size and like 3-game part.
There's a reality time constraint, right? I assume, Sherman?
Yeah.
But
I mean,
you can fit it though.
No, well, so day 1 is already the round of 512 is split across 2 heats of 256. So like in order to get through all the games, it's already a I think 9-hour day to just get through this existing. So yeah, totally we're constrained by like the length of the game is still pretty long. You compare this to I was just at Evo over the weekend, 7,000 Street Fighter competitors, but the average game length is like 3 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
And we're assuming that everything goes well, by the way.
Yeah,
like,
no tech problems, no delayed lobbies.
Look, we are buffering plenty of time to like account for.
Yeah, you have to. But I just want to be really clear, because I'm with Milk and sentiment that like in a perfect world we would play more than 3 games. In a perfect world, we'd also reshuffle lobbies, right? Because you could low roll your lobby and wind up in a harder lobby. The reality of the situation is logistically, timing wise, that's just not.
I think they can do 4. I think they could do 4.
I mean, okay, like okay. Fine, but like, wouldn't you do the same amount of yapping 4 versus 3? Is it really that different, man? Like, it's not that. It's
a pretty big difference, Bryce. Come on,
it's pretty big. Yeah.
I think the reality of the situation is that this is not an event that's going to optimize for what we're trying to do there, right? Like, this is always going to be a little bit of a for fun event. It's always going to be a really low sample size event. There's not a lot that we can do to fix that core problem. Adding a game does improve it. Each game you add improves it, but I think the reality of the situation is that this is about coming together, spending time celebrating TFT, having fun, doing all the side stuff. If you happen to do well in the event, great. Awesome. Enjoy, have fun, keep playing more TFT, but if don't think of it as you're spending this amount of money to maybe play 3 games. Think about it as you're spending this amount of money to be part of the experience, and then if you happen to play more, awesome.
Yeah. I think again, it's like, this is, in my opinion, this is kind of like the same thing as like March Madness, right? A lot of people go into it thinking like, number 1 seeds in these collegiate basketball tournament should be the favorite, but any upset can happen, and that's good. People in chat are saying like, I fly from EU just to lose in 3 games. You're from EU. You can beat North America finally. So it's like, it's just, and
you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that if we make it a fair competitive format with full competitive integrity. And did you see the prize pool? It's dollars, not eggs. Like, this is a crazy opportunity for EU. It's basically free to come from EU to play in this event when you really think about it.
Sherman's trying to disassociate from the
I
dissing
think that's
here,
right. That's my exit right there. No.
Don't worry. Sherman's here representing the rest of the globe. We're here with our NA bias. Let's talk about just like the round 3 and round 4. So in here, nothing really structure changes, but because we have fewer competitors, we can do more games, but it's about the same estimated time length. Like because people are wondering, like, is it going to be like a 4-hour thing, and then all of a sudden just like we have like 12 hours to do nothing?
So the way we are splitting these up is you'll play, your round. You'll have a little bit of time between rounds to reset, and then or you'll play your games, and you'll have a little bit of time between each game to reset. But you'll play those as like one chunk, and then we'll take a good break. There's like I can't remember the exact amount of time allotted in between rounds, but we'll give everybody a break in the round. And then you'll move on to your next round of 4 or table of 8. So day 2, we're trying to still make that cut as fast as possible down to 8. So we go from 128 down to 32. Instead of top 2 advancing, you now instead of top 4 advancing, now only top 2 advance. But you do get an extra game, which
against the same competitors, same lobby, no moving.
We don't shuffle. We just still don't shuffle. Yeah.
All right. And that's it for the final day. The final day is set up for just 8 players and doing a checkmate format. And then it's basically the same as what you expect at the finals of a world championship, except this time it's just the whole day dedicated to 8 players.
Yep. And as we all know, this can still go pretty lengthy. We did change the point minimum recently for both set championships, as well as we're bringing that point threshold here. But we are still looking at a few things to help make sure it doesn't go to like 20 games on the day or 10 games on the day. So I think some stuff like I believe Summit had a hard cap on the number of checkmate games. So that's part of why we want to do something cool. Checkmate will never work better than in a live environment. We've talked about this before, but the idea of like a player wins the final lobby and they know they won and they lift a trophy, that's like way more real in real life. So we're excited to do Checkmate at this event.
I hate Checkmate. I love it for this format. It's like fully in keeping with it. I wish we didn't decide the world champion of TFT via Checkmate, and I'll keep yapping at you until that gets changed.
I like Checkmate more.
I really like it for this. Sorry, what were you saying, Milk?
Oh, I like Checkmate for Worlds as well.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's definitely exciting. I think it'll be really exciting. Also, there's gonna be, I'm assuming, is it gonna be kind of set up like live commentary, like a traditional esports thing? Will people be hearing casters? There will be casters at the event, I'm presuming.
Yeah, there will be casters at the event. I think we're also still we've talked about this before, but like, how do we lean into novelty across the event? This isn't going to be the we're 3 weeks into a brand new set that nobody has really ever played. This is like not necessarily meant to showcase the best play in the world. So I think even from a tone perspective on the broadcast, we're thinking about how do we lean in more to novelty. Something I think the Summit cast did really, really well last year.
Great.
Do you know if you're going to broadcast all 3 days?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's going to be a lot of ways actually to watch variety of games. So we didn't talk about this, but we'll also have on-site co-streamers, and those will have their own table dedicated to them. So if you want to watch that game, it'll be available on that co-streamers channel.
Awesome. And then I'm guessing it's going to be multi-language as well, right? Because it's not just English.
Totally. Yes, we're working on like a suite of global foreign language feeds around the world. We really want to figure out how to make this event feel as global as possible, even though it's here in the US.
Got it. If let's say there's a well-known creator or a person that wants to kind of represent the region, is that something that they could apply for, or do they have to kind of go through other comms channels, like maybe a local Riot representative?
Yeah, the way we're going about it in full transparency is there's a very limited number of slots for that. But we have kind of identified what are some of the languages around the world that have like some of the biggest communities, and are working first and foremost to like help give those communities their own foreign language broadcasts through not in addition to the broadcast, they'll also have co-streaming. So they're very limited in the number of slots. I think it's 6 total globally. So
oh wow, okay,
yes.
That's tough. Yeah.
One of the chosen 6.
Chat wants to know the likelihood on a percentage basis of there being a playable demo of Project L at TFTCon.
I think this is the TFT Vegas Open, you know, and I think that's that should say enough right there.
Okay.
So maybe. Yeah,
that wasn't a no.
Let me rephrase. TFT.
I see.
All right, and on that note, since we already started, we're gonna wrap up this show with our final segment, which is a chat Q&A. And so the way this is gonna work is you can submit a question. We're not gonna pick every question, but the way to do it is to click redeem or highlight my message in chat, and then we're gonna go through it and then pick some questions. So we're gonna try to do our best to make sure not to bombard Sherm here with ridiculous questions. But I want to open it up to people who want to ask anything with Sherman, and it could probably be on top. Preferably, it's going to be on topic regarding the Vegas Open. But if you have some broader question about TFT Esports, that's like, you know, pretty interesting and also somewhat relevant, I think we can also pick that.
I've seen a bunch of chat that has been kind of sad about not being able to afford to go to this event. Understanding that it's a flight to Vegas, it's a hotel room for a few nights, and the competitor pass. Okay. DTIYDK is going to sponsor 1 player to go. I'll pay for it.
Oh,
we'll do. Dan will figure out how it works. We'll have people apply to put it into. Yeah, I'm just making it up. I want people to go. I want people to have the opportunity. I'm not going to pick you if you can obviously afford to go. So if a big streamer applies, you're obviously not going to get this. The goal is to get a challenger player from North America who otherwise would not be able to afford to attend this event to be able to be there, and DTIYDK will make that happen. So we'll figure out the logistics of that later, but for now, I think this is a fun thing we can do for the community, and hopefully we get the chance for that person to show and pop up and win 100K.
Are you going to give them a DTIYDK jersey?
You know, we don't have one. We have no official merch, but maybe we do. Maybe that's a requirement. You got to wear the DTIYDK jersey while you're popping off.
And it's just me and Bryce's faces on the shirt. Listen, you let DSG into the Riot ecosystem. Surely you can let us in.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some questions here. So first question here comes from Mach 1000. Oh wait, I don't have it featured. Give me 1 second. All right. Mach 1000 says, maybe you already talked about it, but there's going to be seeding, correct?
Yes, there will be seeding. We are not revealing seeding data or info today. We will reveal seeding info and how we're seeding once everything, you know, once you purchase your competitor pass. So you will know, like, what can I do between now and Vegas to actually like impact my seeding. But no info, no concrete details on that today.
Okay, understood. Next question from Tay Perseus. I can grind on an account to master on North America and participate. I can go ahead and answer this, actually. We already confirmed that is the case. It's just the requirement to be Masters, Grandmasters, or Challenger of any rank, and you log into your Riot account, it'll automatically detect. Next question from Birdwings. When will there be a TFT Worlds LAN, Sherman? Are we allowed to answer this?
I will say, having continued to work on this, it's really hard to get people on a short notice from all around the world to one location. It's part of the reason why we went with an open format here. The reality is getting players through visa processes of different countries, or even just getting passports of unknown players, means that we're still not prioritizing putting the set championships on LAN. But I do know that it's a big
happen though. In set 5, it was going to happen.
It was going to happen.
But then
it was going to happen, but it meant they also they scoped it out. If I remember correctly, they held the qualifiers and everything with a huge gap between when the set championship actually was and when everyone qualified. So if we want to get rid of a bunch of qualifiers, have regionals like months earlier, and all of this gets way harder when we move to 3 sets a year, where we can only do we only have a few months
How
to
about
run the entire
regionals
set.
LAN, like some of the other regions like Korea and Europe and
Milk, you
China.
didn't even highlight the question, man. Come on.
Yeah, but he's on the show. He doesn't have to highlight.
Yeah, I'm highlighting it now. Like, how come NA is the only region about LAN regionals? Even
There's
Korea
plenty of
has it.
regions. Yeah. I want to. There's plenty of regions that don't have LAN regionals.
Well, the big ones.
I think it's a fair question. I
The
think
big
we're
regions.
not talking too much about regional competition, and I don't want to set expectations that there's going to be LAN, but we are looking at how to like improve and kind of redo regional format as we move to 3 sets a year. Only because we have to. With like it, we don't want to just do like the same thing but shorter. So we're gonna have more information about how regional will evolve, but for now, so wouldn't necessarily, we're not mandating at a global level to have regional LANs.
All right. Next question. This is kind of a block of questions that people came in, which is from Leo Cardia. Will there be any partnered accommodations like hotels and etc. so the trip, well, in this case, from EU or other places wouldn't be so expensive?
There's not a hotel block discount to like buy into. We did choose one of the cheapest parts of the year in Vegas. Just for context, once you get past once you get past Thanksgiving, December is like a dead month for Vegas. So that was part of the choice of Vegas. MGM also isn't necessarily the cheapest hotel on the strip if you're looking for something. It is connected to the tram system, so there are a lot of ways to get around within that. But I think we're still hopeful that there's a lot of ways to make this trip affordable depending on where you're coming from.
And remind me, Sherm, what's the date of the event? I'm just gonna look up the hotels really fast. I'm curious. Is it
December 8th through 10th?
8th through 10th.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. MGM is weirdly expensive at that weekend. Is there something going on that weekend? Like it's like
The
really cheap around
TFT Vegas Open, man.
It's like very cheap around it, but for whatever reason, that weekend specifically is very expensive at the MGM. Maybe everyone's looking this up right now, Sherm.
Maybe it's just like spiking the
Maybe
price
in
right
real
now.
time. Maybe in real time, we are driving up the cost of the MGM that weekend.
Stop searching, guys.
It's like
Stop searching. We can't give
everybody's
them
searching the
reasons to
same
jack up the
airline
prices.
flight, and it's like, wow. The airline's like, oh man, we could triple.
NBA tournament according to chat. All right, got it. Another question here from Lucas. Will players be allowed to stream their own POVs?
We will not we will not allow like players to stream their own POVs. It's just a setup and like internet thing. It's both a sit down, set up your stream, and then like beam that out is a lot. But then also the amount of bandwidth that requires for so many players to be able to stream is a pretty big challenge. We are looking at still more ways to broadcast as many games as possible from the event, and some of that might mean like Riot has all these remote broadcast centers around the world that we've been building, and so we're looking at how can we leverage those to make even just maybe not entire streams, but can we capture highlights and like replays from as many games as possible. We would like to make it so that you can watch games from your favorite player as easy as possible.
Got it. All right, another really important question for North American players by Mr. Incredible. Will augment stats be allowed at the event?
You got to print them out. That's the only way. You got to bring that.
Really?
Bring them out. No.
The Bible.
That's yeah.
Milk's gonna show up with a binder. It's gonna be the stats sorted by all the major comps at 2-1-3, 3-2, 4-2. He's gonna fucking have it's gonna be organized.
The amazing thing will just be him opening a binder at the augment and just trying to like, I have 35 seconds to find the answer here.
Oh my god. Milk, what's your reaction to that?
Oh, can I check my phone or alt tab?
I don't know where we've landed on that, but we've had a lot of conversations about like from a competitive integrity standpoint. What's
honestly just don't allow it. I'll remember it all by then anyways. Like It's like most people just remember it before 20, anyways. People don't even need to look.
Really?
3 weeks into the set, everyone will have the set.
Oh,
Perfect.
3 weeks. Never mind. 3 weeks out. But usually you remember it by then.
Usually. No, I think
just for reference, in the past, I know you haven't decided on policy, Sherman, but the policy was 1 sheet of paper for Hearthstone in the past, where you're allowed to have it blank or filled out, but like that's all you're allowed to bring. Because if you have people, if Robin prints out his TFT handbook, right, like the people are just gonna have pages and pages of notes and whatnot, and it gets crazy.
I think we'll keep talking about it. That's a great reference to know. I think with TFT, because the game timer just keeps everything moving, I'm less worried about I think Hearthstone always had the problem of roping, and so it's like you don't want to delay the game, give the player too much agency over like how much time they take. So I could see, if Robin wants to bring the handbook, I don't necessarily see a problem with it right now. I do have comp ops people who are way smarter about this stuff than I am, so I will lean on them to kind of make the final call.
Business opportunity, Milk and Bryce. We print out stat sheets ahead of time, and we sell anybody who is
make a binder. We sell them for $25.
How do you think Bryce is paying for the?
Yeah, exactly. This is how we fund the person. Yeah. It's gonna the binders will have DTIYDK branding on them. Promotional opportunity.
Don't click if you don't know. That's the name of the handbook. All right. Next question from BWS Diaz. Will there be any post-game activities like social gatherings or a post-party?
No details to share on this stuff right now. We are thinking about what are all the activities that you can do in Vegas. But no concrete details to share today.
Okay, got it. Understood. Question from a Fanta bottle. Will backseating be allowed, as in friends can be standing behind me, giving me advice?
The way that we are, the way the venue is set up as a spectator, you are able to walk around to any table and see the match be played. I'm going to go ahead and default back to that, to my previous answer of, I know we've talked about it. I'm not sure exactly where we've landed. There's a ton of ways that this one could go. I think it's probably, actually, I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to lean back on our comp ups people.
Okay. I'm gonna say something because I don't get to make the decision. One person, one game, man. There's no fucking way that we should be allowing backseating actively during this event. That does not make any sense.
Okay, but
I agree. Actively, it doesn't make any sense. I definitely agree. I think there's the figuring out how to understand intent and how to actually enforce a policy that is the biggest challenge. Yes. I think philosophically.
You mentioned the FGC and Evo, so a lot of times people crowd around and just yell all the time and just distract the competitors. Can you imagine Soju? And there's it's not just one backseater, Bryce. It's actually 20 people behind him, just emoting IRL behind him. There's he loses by 2 units. What do you think they're gonna scream behind him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with all of that. I'm just not fine with Soju standing over Milk's shoulder and being like, "Yo, Milk, you suck. Take this unit out and put this unit in, or build this item."
Sure. I do think we'll definitely have stanchions, so it's not you can just stand right behind a player. But I hear you on that one. I think philosophically we're on the same page. I think figuring out the right enforcement strategy and building something that doesn't create a ton of gray area, it's always the challenge with one of these situations.
Yeah, fair.
Got it. We got another question, and this might be one of the last ones from Gaming Gears TV. Will there be any free play areas for spectators to play some TFT other than side events? I guess if they just want to hang out and play TFT.
Well, there's this great app. It's called TFT Mobile, and that'll be available at all times in the venue to play. I see Bryce is muting.
Great app, sure.
Great app.
Yeah, great app is where you get me hung up.
No, so I think we're looking at do we do a mobile free play area? I think that's something that we've been talking about, and then also otherwise it will be sort of the side events, and I want to stress we do want that to be something that is for any level of player to be able to walk up and play in. That isn't you're about to sign up for a 32 player bracket or anything like this, or jump into a 6 game pool. It's really meant to be a fun after event for players to participate in.
Fair enough. This is a question from a community member, Boise's. He asked if there's any need for a tournament organizer or admins. I guess if people want to help out or contribute, is there any way that they can sign up? Because in FGC, you kind of draw comparisons to Evo. There's a lot of like volunteer pool leaders. Is there any way for people to get involved in this event outside of just competing and spectating?
I don't know the details on that. We are getting some support to kind of help referee all the games. But I don't know exactly if we're going down like a volunteer route as opposed to pulling in refs from around Riot and from our TO partner.
Got it. And then the last thing, and this will be, we'll just close it off here because then we're gonna have time, is from Ryron. Is there any TFT merch that's gonna be available for purchase there?
We are expecting to have merch. I think we're like working out exactly what that's going to look like. I saw a brief the other day for it. I think we're excited to make players look as good as they play in TFT.
I like that. All right, great. Sorry, Milk. I know we put a pause on you while we were doing chat Q&A. Is there any follow-up that you have here before we wrap up the show?
Oh, I mean, how often do you think there'll be TFT LANs? Just wondering. Yes.
Let's get
it's kind of weird. Okay, I guess it's kind of weird. Like, there's set 8 LAN and then set 9 had nothing, and then set 10 LAN. Is it like kind of awkward? At some sets there's just nothing, and some sets there's something.
Yeah, I think the way I would frame it, a big part of the reason we're doing this one the way we are is set 10 launches at the very end of the year, and it's sort of like we're moving right into this 3 sets a year cadence. So this is really like an intro to do something at this scale and this large is definitely like a celebration of sort of the next phase of TFT. I think like we're definitely like I'll put it this way: there's a ton of people excited about like what this event opens up for the future of Riot. We also are doing a lot of diligence to make sure we get through this one and then kind of like continue to take learnings from it and make plans going forward. But I don't want to commit to doing like, let's say passes don't sell out and nobody shows up and 5 people watch it. Like, it's a totally different conversation than if like it's a massive success. So to me, there's a lot of let's get through Vegas. It's going to be an awesome time, and then we'll be able to talk about like what happens next.
That was tantalizing, Sherm. The next phase of TFT.
The next phase. What is it? The new era is upon us.
Hey, three sets a year is going to be a big deal. That's gonna feel so exciting from my perspective.
100%. I hope that if you do end up ushering TFT into a new age, you'll be back for a 3rd episode. Yeah.
I love coming on this show. No, absolutely.
You're not allowed to even authorize that. Thanks to like Joanne and her team for like.
Absolutely appreciate it. Thank you, Joanne. And I think the number of times I end up DMing you guys is at least like once a month. So we talk.
Absolutely. Well, that brings us to the conclusion of the episode. We want to keep it within an hour, respect everyone's time, especially since it is a working day for at least most of us. So let's get some final words and thoughts. So we'll start off with Sherman here, so you can sign off here.
I can't like express how excited I am for this event. We started planning and sort of the ideation for this event more than a year ago now. This has been like the longest runway project I've ever worked on in my time at Riot, and one that's asked a lot of Rioters to do a lot of new things. So I'm really excited to put all that together for this new event, and I can't wait to see you all there. To actually get to the call to action plug, spectator passes go on sale on the September 7th. Competitor passes go on sale the 5th, 6th, and 7th. If you would like to have priority access to your competitor pass, start grinding. Challenger, Grandmaster, and Master players get a pre-sale access. And the cutoff for that is August 30th at 11:59 p.m. Pacific.
Damn, Sherman just dropped the get good. He actually did. He's like, if you want to be part of the event, start grinding. AK, stop running it down. Milk, any final words before we sign off here?
No, I'm just really happy there's finally, after like, 4 years, there's finally TFT LAN, It's been 4 years, so that's kind
We
of
did the
cool.
summit.
Oh yeah. You know what? Never mind. But that took 3 years. You know what?
Milk's like, I no longer care about this event. You know, we did Summit.
Honestly, actually, Summit was actually like the best like TFT event ever. I think I really miss Summit. I'm like really sad it's gone. I wish there was Summit every year, or like I prefer Summit over like I think Summit's the most fun event over like this and over Worlds. So I'm kind of sad
Until
they
you
just
go
closed
to the
down.
Vegas Open, maybe that'll replace it. You never know, man.
Okay, probably not because it's 3 games. Let's say day 1. I'm just like people.
You're not getting one, man.
You're not
Just-
getting round 1, man. Like, come
Wait,
on.
really? Half the people. You like let's say go 8 like the first game. The odds
Just don't go
waste.
waste.
Milk, all you do is spend all your time talking about how bad everyone else is at TFT. So surely
I mean,
you
yeah,
can-
the
you can
game's still
outlast
unlocked.
all right. Bryce, any final words?
I'm so excited. I mean, look, I feel the same way about the summit. I think the summit was one of the best weeks of my life, and it was a really fun experience. But I'm really excited for what the Vegas Open is going to bring to the table. It's going to be a completely different feel. It's going to be a much bigger community event. It's a buy-in event. There's a big prize pool associated. It's in Vegas, so it's just totally different energy. And if I got to pick, I would love for there to be one summit every year and one kind of Vegas Open-esque event every year because it's going to be very different and very special.
I'm not for every set.
Every set.
We'll work on it one at a
God.
time, man. We're busy. We're busy here trying to get the first one up, but assuming it goes well, maybe we have stuff in the future. There were some questions about like, will this be a yearly thing? Only time will tell. Well, let's hope that this event is as successful as all of us imagine it will be. And if you guys have missed any other details, we're actually real quick. Last question, I promise, Sherman. Where can they find more information or what they should be following? So if they see any announcements or more details get released.
Follow TFT on Twitter, play TFT on YouTube, TFT on Instagram. There is an article that did go live with all the information that we talked about here today. It's on the Teamfight Tactics website. It'll probably be on all of our social media channels by now too. So if you want to learn more, would highly recommend checking those out. And then you can also follow me at Riot Sherman. I'm always tweeting and talking about this event especially when there's things to say. So excited to share this update with everybody.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much to Riot, especially Michael Sherman for coming on to the show. Thank you, Milk, for joining us. But that does it for this episode of Don't Talk If You Don't Know. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out our content at youtube.com/@DTIYDK. Or just follow us on Twitter where we post a bunch of updates on the show, twitter.com/DTIYDK show. From Frodan, Bryce, Milk, and Sherman, this has been Don't Talk If You Don't Know, the esports episode number 2. And we'll see you next time for more TFT action.
People, bye.